We from California at this point, nigga. Fuck it. Oh, my way.
We all united one gang.
God damn it, me. Yes, Lord.
Yeah, man, back with another one and all that. Make sure y'all niggas like, comment, subscribe. It's Gang TV. Gang stand for going after new goals. You already know we going after those. But look, we got Swamp Stories with like a little mini documentary about like like the feud that's going on in Oakland, or like some of the violence that's been going on or whatever, surrounding some of the artists from Oakland. Shout out Oakland, nigga. Shout out, yeah, man. Shout out Oakland. It's a beautiful city. Like the history run deep and all that. I ain't gonna hold y'all niggas up though. I'm gonna get into the video. I'm only gonna react to like half of the video. I ain't gonna react to the whole thing. I'm just gonna react to half of it, and then yeah, we're gonna get into it. This all, mind you, too. All the information in this documentary gotta be public information for whoever to make this documentary to make it, you feel me? Because he ain't just getting this information out of the sky, so I'm sure he's speaking on like past events or whatever, but we gonna see.
I can't go over everything that's happened between these gangs, or else this would be an hour-long video, so I'll start in 2020. Also, try to remember the names of victims and suspects because this will get interesting. We start on June 25th, 2020. A 19-year-old ENT member named Charles Bolden Jr. is shot in Oakland on 77th Avenue. 2 days later, a case member is shot on MacArthur Boulevard. Later that same day, shots were fired into the home of case member Donze Young in Antioch. This shooting would be a surprise to neighbors of this peaceful area, and some would install surveillance cameras. In the past few years, many Antioch residents complain that their neighborhoods are experiencing violent crime that they've never seen before. They claim the Antioch Section 8 program that has brought Oakland residents to their city has caused many problems. And they wouldn't be wrong, because just 13 days later, case member Donze Young was shot again right in front of his Antioch home. He would survive this shooting. On August 14th, 2020, 18-year-old case member Devon McNeil was shot dead on Beverly Avenue in Deep East Oakland. August 29th, 2020, Donze Young was shot again in front of his suburban Antioch home. He was chased on foot and shot multiple times with an AR pistol. After he was knocked down, the suspect would stand over him and shoot him in the head a bunch of times just to send a message. Antioch police called it an execution-style killing. Just a few days later, retaliation would come. On September 4th, 2 ENT members are shot at 56 times with an AR-15, yet both would survive and one of them wasn't even hit. Case was over there shooting bricks like Ben Simmons. Then, 2 days later at Donze Young's memorial, in front of the same Antioch home, 13 shots would ring out. Luckily, everyone ran and nobody died. December 8th, 2020, Donze Young's house would be shot up again. Clearly, the rivals wanted more blood from Donze's family. February 27th, 2021, 10 in the morning. A 21-year-old case member is pumping gas at an Antioch gas station when rival gang members would start shooting at him. The other case members would start shooting back when they noticed what was happening. This gas station would be turned into a war zone. Once the smoke ended though, one case member was shot 10 times. His associates would rush him to the hospital where he would survive his injuries. Later that day, those case members would get their own revenge. They would drive to a known ENT location in East Oakland and start shooting at some gang members. No one would die from the shootings and Oakland police were all over it. They would detain the suspects after long foot chases, and the guns that they used during this shooting matched the shell casings from the Antioch gas station. 10 days later on March 9th, ENT members would sit outside an Antioch home all day. When the case members they were looking for got home, the ENT members would hop out of their car and start letting off. After the shooting, 2 case members would be airlifted to the hospital where they would receive life-saving surgery. No arrests were made for any of these shootings until March 30th of 2021. Operation Windstar. This is when everything came falling down for Case and ENT. Antioch neighbors are very different than the ones in Oakland, and these gang members would learn the hard way. Antioch neighbors would submit surveillance video and descriptions of the shooters and drivers. This is what ultimately took down the gangs. Once they had enough information from civilians, Antioch and Oakland police decided to work together to take down these gangs. They received 100 search warrants from judges to raid all of the homes of suspected gang members. They found everything they needed and more. They recovered recovered 40 guns, most of which were linked to the shooting, and hundreds of thousands in cash. 48 gang members were arrested, and what they found was mind-blowing. After the August 29th killing of Donze Young, a home surveillance video was submitted to Antioch police that caught the driver getting away. Another neighbor came forward and gave a description of the shooter. It turns out the driver was Charles Bolden, and the shooter, well, his 19-year-old son, Charles Bolden Jr. During the raid of the Boldens, they found guns that matched the shell casings to the shooting of Donze Young on July 13th. This father-son duo was relentless. ENT members Eric Wyndham and Keyshawn McGee were arrested for the March 9th Antioch shooting on Aspen Way. Even after the gang sweep, ENT and Case areas have been riddled with homicides. For example, on July 5th, a 48-year-old man was killed on 77th and Bancroft, right in the heart of ENT territory. Just 2 days later, at the man's memorial, a 49-year-old man was killed in the exact same spot.
New this morning, Oakland police still investigating a shooting at a celebration of life that left one man dead and another in the hospital. Now, police responded to a shot spotter activation last night on Bancroft near 77th Avenue.
Oakland's gang war has no end in sight. Oh, and these aren't the only two gangs.
Man, them niggas tripping, I ain't gonna lie. You know, it's crazy because, right, like, what it do is, like, them niggas, like, on both sides, right, it's just a bunch of niggas with talent, and I'm sure it's real niggas on both sides, right, and it's just crazy that, like, you know, that them niggas, like, it's just a whole bunch of genocide going on, you feel me, like, it's crazy, but yeah, if y'all want to see me react to part 2, or matter of fact, if y'all want to see me react to something else from Swamp Stories, just let me know in the comment section. Yeah, man, it's a cold thing. It's shout out Swamp Stories, because for him to know all this, it got to be public information, and he put it together real well. You understand me, as far as documentary form and all that, you know. But make sure y'all niggas like, comment, subscribe. It's gang.
What you say?
Thank you, Fizzle.
What you say? I said whoever threw that paper, your mom's a hoe.
Thank you, Fizzle.
Smooth was good, baby.
Thank you, Fizzle.